so it's a question of brand, right? Is what you're talking about. You're talking about brand.
Brand is marketing, yeah.
So are we turning our back as an industry now at the days of a high street brand? I'm not talking about high street offices, but a high street brand like a Foxtons or a Conwells or a Countrywide or whatever, in favour of personal brand, i.e. the agent that is an individual, whether they're employed, self-employed, doesn't matter whether they're EXP, Foxtons or whatever. Do we think that's the future in terms of the personal brand being dominant?
Well, I think that one of the problems we have as an industry is we try to find a solution for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? It doesn't have to be that way.
No.
I'm sure Adam's got some, I know he has got some incredible agents that work for him. And I know there are some incredible Foxtons offices. And there'll be some crap agents that work for Adam, and there'll be some crap Foxtons offices. Right? And there'll be some brilliant independents with an office that love window cards and brochures and magazines, and there'll be some brilliant independents that work from at home. Or that's what I'm saying, is that don't be an estate agent. Like on the Facebook groups that talk about the portals, they say, oh, if everybody left, right, we could all leave. You don't need everybody to leave. That's the whole problem. You all want to move together as a pack, and then you all want to stand out. Like you don't need to all leave. If you want to leave, come up with a reason.
What's your pitch in the living room?
Yeah.
What's your marketing strategy?
Just coming back just quickly to how do the guys on the front line absolutely feel confident about winning the instruction, because that's what they have in their head instead of building the relationship. There's loads of things that you guys can share just in those nuances: building relationships, asking questions, understanding needs, and then presenting the solutions that meet those needs. Brilliant, right? But they're so focused, and I think this is the cultural thing around fees. It's about short-termism. It's about, I need to get the list in, I need to get it at all costs. How do those guys who are sitting there in one of those agencies where they're being drilled down on the numbers, how can they go and change their rhetoric or their narrative or their story out in the field? Because let's be honest, that's probably not going to affect you guys, because your guys are independent and supportive to go and be their best as a personal brand in their community. But a lot of the guys that are going to be watching this haven't got that freedom.
Well, it'll take time is the answer. You don't just suddenly move from charging 0.75 to 1.5.
Yeah.
You've got to do the hard yards, and the hard yards are many little tiny things, like, and this is my big bugbear, answering the phone properly when someone calls in, responding to an email without typos, spelling someone's name correctly, standing up when they come into the office, being polite, being personable. That is your brand, that you build your brand very slowly. So it doesn't just happen overnight.
Is it fair to say in those little instances, that detail, it's easier to stand out now
definitely
than it's ever been? And I mean that. If you go around any estate agents, nobody stands up. One of the first things I did when I started gigs 11 years ago, 10 and a half years ago, about for 4 weeks, I had to do, garden leave.
Right.
And
you went
part of that, he said, you've got to go down to North London, visit 19 ex-Countrywide offices, and go and carry out mystery shops. I did it, and it was the best thing I ever did, because I realised that the things that they don't do are the things that you just mentioned.
Marsh and Parsons,
stand up, offer tea.
The second day in the office for new employees was out mystery shopping our competitors, and then they came back and they presented to me, and they were universally shocked at how they were welcomed when they walked into the office. Now, you could
or not, you mean, or not.
Shocked how badly people didn't give a monkeys about them. They didn't care. Care is the big thing, isn't it? Now, people don't walk into offices much anymore, let's face it. So a response to an email is essential. If someone spells my name wrong, I won't. This is ridiculous, but I know they don't give a monkeys. They don't give a toss. They don't care. So am I going to care about them? Probably not. So they are way down the list. Now, obviously, they can recover that, but you have to build that branding of your, because most won't, and it's a brilliant place to be where most won't.
I was asked by a guild member recently, what's your best close for booking a valuation, or how to get a valuation? And it was, I'd love to, thank you very much for asking. Which is exactly your point, which is you've done such a good job all the way through. This isn't a destination, it's a journey. And it is the very first way that you answer the phone. It's the way that you use your name to break down barriers. To get their first name by giving your first name twice. It's all of those sorts of things, the little touches all the way.
It's training and having standards.
It's training and standards and culture. So it's what you do when you, as an office manager or a business owner, when you hear it not happening. What do you do?
Absolutely, you've got to push it. You've got to absolutely stamp on it in a massive way, so everyone knows.
Yeah.
At the times I used to go to an office and there was rubbish on the street outside, I'd pick it up, I'd walk in and I'd put it in the bin in the office.
Yeah.
That just shows
Standards
the
and
boss is
Standards
doing
values.
something about it, and it's essential.
I mean, that's all stuff that I was doing in '97. I can't believe that doesn't happen. Standing up, Jesus, I used to get absolutely hauled.
Doesn't happen at all.
But looking at the modern stuff, what's wrong with voice noting people on WhatsApp, sending a little video message after you've done a viewing to the vendor saying, just show Mr. and Mrs. Smith around. I think they really liked it.
Should be
I'm
happening.
going to follow up with them tomorrow and let you know. Just using that modern
Use that
technology,
text to build a relation. Love it.
voice
to be
notes, that
honest,
kind of
You're
stuff.
much younger than me. Good for
All
you.
you're talking about is verbal and non-verbal communication, if we were to give it a headline.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's about doing that really well
Really.
and better than you think you should be doing
Yeah.
it. And if you're a negotiator or a valuer or anybody, frankly, watching this, that's it. That is the key to unlock everything. Is if you think you need to be here with your communication, verbal or non-verbal, actually you need to be here.
Yeah.
And seek out ways to improve yourself, because we've talked a little bit about America and Australia, and sometimes I do get frustrated with the constant comparisons with those countries, because we aren't them.
But we are. It's only because they're better than us.
I'm not sure.
No,
they are.
Oh, well, there's an argument to
I'm
be
sorry,
had there.
Russell,
Or a debate. There's a
I
debate.
don't accept that.
Yeah, absolutely are.
I don't accept that. I think it's very different. Society is completely different in America to here, completely different in Australia to here. I think we have some great people in this industry who need exactly the reason we're all sat around here today, ideas and thoughts to hit beyond their bubble, because unfortunately, and I'm going to say it and it's not going to win me any fans, there's failure in leadership across the industry in management. There's some brilliant estate agents who've become business owners, or they've become managers and leaders, and they then haven't been trained, so they're then not
So
equipped.
why do you think that is?
Because I don't think it comes back to the vicious circle of the profitability not being there and the budget not being
Fees.
there.
It's all about fees. So
Yeah.
So if your negotiator is working their little socks off and being brilliant, but they're only charging 0.75, and he or she is on 10%. So frankly, they're going to get about 60 quid out of this.
Less tax, less NI.
I mean,
it's not worth it.
It's just not worth it. So it is that vicious spiral. If you don't charge a proper fee, you will never build your business properly.
But you're
all
also
about culture,
assuming
isn't it?
wildly that every single person is motivated wholly by commission, and I don't think that is always the case. Don't get
agree.
me wrong. I think many of us, of course, we're not charities. Sometimes one day a week.
But why are they being a commission related? Why not going to the priesthood then, rather than
I
estate
know.
agents?
But you're also making a wild
Yeah, you are.
assumption that everybody is in a commission-based role. There are hundreds, if not thousands of estate agents out there now who are in, you'll know from the guild, loads of the independents do it. They're not in a commission-based role.
does.
They get paid a
It freaks
salary,
me out, I
and
must
that
say.
is it. And occasionally, if
You're
their
right.
boss thinks they've had a good year, they give them a bonus at Christmas.
But that might
500
also be
quid.
one of the reasons why the agency industry in the UK is not seen in the high regard. So when I talk about better, the US, Australia being better, I mean in the context of they charge more and they are more highly regarded. We know that because what you said a few minutes ago, which is estate agents in the UK are still in the top 3 of all
Well, I
professions.
don't
in
think
Britain.
estate agents
That
are
isn't the
regarded
case,
anywhere.
but that isn't the, no, in the US and Australia they're much higher.
Higher.
They're not
Yeah.
highly regarded, but they're high.
Higher.
More.
That's my
Let's
point.
face
So
it,
therefore they're better in
It's
the
not our
US.
job to be popular. It really isn't.
No, but it's our
And
job
we're
to-
always the meat and the sandwich.
No, but
aren't
it's
we?
our
We-
job
we
to
can upset
deliver.
someone.
It's our job to deliver a service and a performance. Both
I'd
things.
argue that you
That's
can't be
commensurate with a decent fee. The better you are, back to my point earlier, the better you are, the more likely it is that you can charge a higher fee, particularly if you've built the relationship in the first place.
But your job is to give bad news. So when your client says, "I'm sorry, I've changed my mind," you call up the buyer and say, "I'm really sorry, my client." Who gets the blame? We get the blame. I mean,
Yeah.
it is our job to be the meat in the sandwich.
But that's only part of the
beat up
relationship.
session, isn't it?
Our relationship with the consumer is 6 months long, isn't it? So yes, there's bad news has to be delivered, but it's not all
fair
bad
enough.
news in a relationship.
So we need, so here if I'm getting, training is essential. Leadership is it broken? Is it broken not just in agency, but across, we don't go across the
It's
whole world,
everywhere.
but
I work for the NHS
yeah.
at the
There
moment
are-
as well, and it is.
But is it
absolutely
because,
everywhere.
if we revert back to the industry, because I'm totally with you on that, is it because people feel they're in the middle of, no, what do I do to help that individual? Because you don't want, there's a lot of people that can be upset by feedback. these days, and training, and they think that training's a bad thing and it can be associated with a negative context. I know it comes back to culture. It can be, because there's a lot of people out there that think if I'm getting training, it means I'm not very good at my job. Now, I think it comes back down to culture and leadership. And let's go round the table. If you were to open an estate agency, what fee would you charge?
Depends where it was.
Does it?
Well, you wouldn't. I don't think you charge 2.5% in Cardiff.
I would.
Oh, I would.
495 up front, 2.5% plus that.
495 up front. What, for marketing?
Yeah,
Nice.
2.5%.
Like that.
And so before EXP came along, I set up a business. I've still got the domain name. You can buy it off me. Paid £1,800 for that.
If anybody wants it.
Beltandbraces.com.
What is it? 2.5%.com.
Beltandbraces.com. And my entire model was.
Braces, sounds like a tailor's.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be because I'm known as a part-time estate in my old days. So, but Beltand, the whole model, the website was built 495 up front, 2.5% plus VAT on completion, minimum 10 grand fee.
Didn't work.
In my area, when I took the job at EXP.
So you would do that, Mark?
Just, without going back to this point before, it isn't a set rule.
No, I know.
When John
If you
set
were
up
to-
Foxtons,
if you
he
were to-
set up a business. He knew we need to make this much. We need to charge
But
this
that's
much.
where,
to make
that's
this
the point
much
I'm going to
money.
get to.
Great
When your guys take the license off of you, they've got a dream as to what sort of life they want to live
Absolutely.
and a plan as to how they're going to get there. You could have done it with U-Moves, you could have done it with Purple Bricks, you could have done it with Hatch. It doesn't matter. If the plan works, you should be making profit at the end of it, whether you're charging Primark prices or Gucci prices. But estate agents, they come out of a corporate and just want to make a bit of money.
So this
and
comes
it
back
turns
down
into
to
a
what you're
business.
saying, is that know your market that you want to work in, right? So you identify the marketplace in which you
What's the
want to
business
work in.
opportunity?
The business-
the
it's the
business
business,
opportunity
not
isn't
the
to open
market.
an estate agent.
No, but I mean that as in,
of them on the high street already.
but what I mean by that is if you scattergun, your marketing's diluted, if they do any marketing. So you've got to identify who do you want to...
What's the point of this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who's your...
What's
Who's
the point
your
of the business?
customer?
How much money is it going to make?
What's the value add to the customer, surely? I mean,
What problems have they got?
It's a lot easier to articulate your value, whatever that is, by the way.
Absolutely.
So I think, what we've learned as consumers is that consumers want, we're all consumers, but we want choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go to Aldi, other times you go to M&S. It really depends. And I think I'm not comparing estate agents to that, but customers want choice. We all do. So to Mark's absolutely bang on there. Let's just say, if you want to charge a low fixed fee and that is your business model,
about it.
crack on
You
with
decided.
it, get on with it, do it, and all the other people should not moan about it either. No estate agents should be. The amount of estate agents that still blame online estate agent,
That's
whatever that
mindset,
is,
right?
It for their demise is astonishing.
Where
because
online
if you-
has never been more than 7% market share.
Yeah,
I know,
but-
it's ridiculous.
but also,
They chase the market down. They chase the fee market down. That's what.
Yeah,
No,
but it's an excuse. Sarah's point is it's an
excuse, but
excuse.
that's what
It's an
you
excuse
had
for
an
those agents.
opportunity, estate agents had an opportunity to prove their value and to differentiate beyond their wildest dreams, because instead they weren't looking at commodities like the other 16 people on the high street. This was somebody doing it completely different, and that's fine. If you want to choose them, you go for it, but we charge 2%.
In 2005, there was an agent that opened in Winchester called 1%. Sorry, Gary, if you're watching. And I used to go on valuations. I'd say, so let me get this right. You're prepared to pay Gary 1%? And they'd say, yeah, we are, yeah. I'd say, that's brilliant. Because by the time I finish, you'll want to pay me 4%. So it is mindset and it is skill set.
And knowing what you want to achieve as well, and who you want to work with. And I think this is the thing. How many times have you heard you can't please everyone? But what does estate agents try and do? They try and
Totally
please
right.
everyone. And why are you doing that?
The best example is hamburgers. Like, you can't get any more commoditised than a hamburger.
You do like hamburgers
Right?
here, Mark.
You cannot get more commoditised than a hamburger.
so
Well, how are Five Guys
Five
adverts
Guys,
charge £8 for a hamburger?
That's true.
Oh,
How
very
very good.
How is that possible?
The quality is there.
Whatever it is, whatever the reason is,
Yeah.
there's psychological reasons, there's
point.
logical reasons, but the point is, you're not going. There's nothing more commoditised than that.
No.
You can get one in McDonald's for 99p. Well, I think they might have put it up a bit, but so how is that possible? Do some research, figure it out, and make a business.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
have a marketing plan.
Great.
Going back to Russell's point, the nurturing is so important. But so many agents I talk to, they go, right, let's get this nurturing thing in place. I'm like, awesome. because they're like, because we're different. It's like brilliant. Look, and then you go, and then you say, great, what are you going to put in your content? They're like, well, we've got to do content. I'm like, yeah, but it's not a problem for you, right? Because you're different. Oh,
Yeah.
and
And that's
then
the
it's
problem.
stuck. And then I go, maybe I could just, I don't know, get some off the shelf content.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you could. I mean, because you
quite
did this
the
to
same.
stand out to start with, remember? But yeah, you could use the same as everybody else. Why not? And then the next conversation further down the line is, I don't know if that works. It's like, really? You don't think that works? Saying the same thing as everyone else. But you haven't got the time to talk about yourself, but you are different. And it's an endless circle that all goes all the way down to you never had a plan in the beginning.
So the plan's built around a vision. Vision and a clear plan is the mission. How are you going to get there? And how many businesses have you mentored or been around and you've asked that question? What's the vision for your organisation? What are your aspirations? And it starts there, because let's be honest, if you haven't got that, if there's no point, there's no narrative.
The good news is they all actually do have it.
What is it?
They just don't know it.
Oh, sorry.
You actually have
Yeah.
to sit with them and go, you have to be as harsh to go, what's the point of your business? And they go, oh, sell houses.
Make good money.
And you go, okay, but what's the point? Well, and it'll fluff around for a bit, and eventually it usually ends up with service. You go, what does that actually mean? Like nothing and nothing, until eventually, then you start getting somewhere, and you dig into their background, and you go, oh, hold on a minute. So you're telling me that, you've done this since you were at the age of 16. You've won awards. You've done this. You've done that. Have you ever told anyone this on evaluation? No. Okay. Maybe
that'll help.
Maybe we should.
Should be different.
Because to the point earlier, they don't know what differentiation is apart from arguing over fee and very, very quickly in seconds giving in. They don't build a relationship, and they don't have differentiation in terms of why someone should pay 2.5% as opposed to 1%. That's not that hard. I think my advice would be have 4 or 5 things in your head as a lister, branch manager, neg, whatever, where you can, with confidence, and I think this is really important, with confidence stand up and say, of course, there's a massive choice of estate agents. They're not all the same. The same as burgers aren't the same as holidays aren't the same as cars aren't the same. This is where we're a little bit different. Not to slag off the competition, not to put stupid pie charts in your window that say we're agent A, but agent B, C, and D have got a smaller market share than us. I'll be clever. Who gives a shit, right? That's ridiculous. What you should be able to do is look someone in the eye in the lounge, having spoken to them for 45 minutes over a cup of tea about the football, and then slide in the differentiators, and then you'll get the business.